Howdy, everybody. Welcome back one more time again to the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show with yours truly, Redneck. And I think we have a phone call. Let's go to the phone. Hello, who that?
This is Lloyd Tosoff from Vancouver, Canada calling.
Lloyd Tosoff, Canadian country superstar. Man, thank you so much for checking in with us. How you was?
We're doing great up here. And thanks for having me on the show. It's really, really kind of you.
It wasn't my choice. All the fans kind of insisted on it, so... there you go. Here you are on the road to somewhere.
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
Well, listen, I'm first you got to clear up some confusion for me, okay? So I'm listening to your music. I've been a fan of yours for a while. I like what you do. But what I don't understand is how a Canadian artist is a backwoods country redneck southern. I didn't know they had rednecks in Canada.
Well, that's pretty interesting that you should say that, because I have a fair amount of fans that are deep Southerners, and somebody just yesterday said the same thing. Can a Canadian be a redneck? And my response was, of course, a Canadian can be a redneck, because really, I think the negative connotation of rednecks is really misunderstood, because to me, a redneck is somebody who is a hard-working man or woman who really has their head down all the time, and so they get burnt, and figuratively and literally, because there's a lot of injustice towards the working man in both Canada and the U.S. and pretty much everywhere in the world. So a lot of my songs really address that whole sense of injustice, like Deep Fried Double Wide. I don't know if you've heard that one, but it's a song about the the Knoxville situation during the crash of 2008, when bankers did some pretty evil things to the working man. So yeah, I'm a redneck as far as anybody else is.
Yeah, I think that's kind of evident there in your music, and that was one of the things that kind of leaped out at me when I was listening to it, is that you're writing and singing songs about stuff that I've experienced, and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's from Vancouver, Canada, he doesn't know anything about this. But you're entirely right that a redneck is somebody who's out there working and pounding nose to the grindstone all day with the sun beating down on their back, and they end up with that redneck. And it's funny that because when I first moved to New York, it was hey, you redneck. And so I figured that old saying about turning lemons into lemonade, people are going to call me that. Well, I figured, so if you're going to call me Redneck, I'll host a show as Redneck. But it's not about me. It's about you, Lloyd, and your music. And I guess, we're all God's rednecks.
Well, that's right. If you're going to play the game, you might as well take the blame, right? So, but no, I've been into country music my whole life. I have no idea where this stuff comes from, because really a lot of the songs on this album are inspired by, the South, Texas, Louisiana, a lot of Tennessee Water is one of the songs on the project. Tin Can Holler, a real place out of East Tennessee. Gary Gentry, who's a friend of mine who wrote the Corvette song and the Ride for David Allan Coe, when he saw the title Tin Can Holler, he said, Tin Can Holler? I mean, I was born and raised just around the corner from Tin Can Holler. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I spent another lifetime in the South or something. But it's just kind of in my blood, and there's nothing inauthentic about the material. It comes out of a real place, and it says what it says.
Well, you summed it up pretty good. Let's do this. Let's let folks give a listen to Tin Can Holler. Will you introduce the song to our listeners, and we'll give it a play?
Okay, sure. Well, the song is really one of the many story songs that I write, and it's really about a no-good backwoods troublemaking boy, a simple green farmer by the name of Hubert McCoy, who claims he's just a simple green farmer, but really he's quite a badass dude. So I think the song tells the story. So why don't we just let folks, hear the song, and they can judge for themselves about Hubert McCoy. So Tin Can Holler. This is Lloyd Tosoff from Vancouver, Canada, and you're listening to the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show. And this is Tin Can Holler from my album Road to Somewhere.
Truck, a couple missing front teeth, frozen fighting bad luck. My working man daddy thought he taught the boy well. My mama was a church-going proper Southern belle. They say I'm a handful of trouble when I drink, big as a bear, fast as a timber swamp lynx. 300 pounds, I can take a man down, put him out stone cold before he hits the ground. Hubert McCoy ain't a good old boy, a black sheep, ain't no mama's pride and joy. Not a city slicker making barely legal dollars, just a simple green farmer down in Tin Can Holler. I never worked a dog damn day in my life, got a marlin deer rifle and a combat knife. Some dank weed growing tall back in the woods keeps me in a little money and feeling pretty good. I've been disaffected by my family at birth, 'cause I grow the best weed in God's green earth. Wouldn't hide my redneck with a stiff blue collar. Name of Hubert McCoy, I live in Tin Can Holler. Hubert McCoy ain't a good old boy, just a black sheep, ain't no mama's pride and joy. Not a city slicker making barely legal dollars, just a simple green farmer down in Tin Can Holler. A simple green farmer down in Tin Can Holler. Smoking boys. I'm a person of interest in a capital case. Got a locked-tied alibi that he can never trace. Ain't no sign of Hubert, not a drop of DNA. Whoever did the deed put him in a shallow grave. When you're in the business and you plan to stay alive, you learn yourself a secret and a tactic to survive. Keep your mouth shut and your back against the wall, and I think you're bulletproof and 10 feet tall. Hubert McCoy ain't a good old boy, just a black sheep, ain't no mama's pride and joy. Not a city slicker making barely legal dollars, just a simple green farmer down in Tin Can Holler. Hubert McCoy ain't a good old boy, just a black sheep, ain't no mama's pride and joy. Not a city slicker making barely legal dollars, just a simple green farmer down in Tin Can Holler. A simple green farmer down in Tin Can Holler. A simple green farmer down in Tin Can Holler, y'all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Tin Can Holler off of Lloyd Tosoff's album Road to Somewhere. We have Lloyd on the phone with us. Mr. Tosoff, thank you so much for playing that for us. That's a good tune, man. It's one of those songs that makes you want to go out and have a good time, I guess. That boy's a mess.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate being on the show and getting a chance to talk a little bit about my music and telling folks what I do.
Well, we're glad that you're with us, and that's why we're here. There's so many artists like yourself out there across the states, across Canada, artists that are not getting the recognition and exposure that they deserve, and so that's why we're here. We're basically doing our part. This is our way of saying thank you for great music. Let us go ahead and do what we can to get your music out there to the people who haven't had a chance to hear it yet. So thank you for being a part of the show and bringing us this great music, Lloyd. We appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate being on.
We just listened to Tin Can Holler, which is kind of, it's one of those, I guess, Mayberry type things, where, everybody can kind of relate to, you got a little one-horse town, and they always have that one individual in town that kind of sets himself aside from the rest. We're going to get to the title cut from this album because I think that's a very good track. I like that song a lot. I think my favorite, and don't be offended, but is Light It Up and Burn It Down. I love that song.
Well, you're not the only one, Scott. That seems to be a big pick amongst people out there. I mean, it might be the radio cut. It's pretty commercial. Not that I try to write commercial music, because I really don't. I have nothing against top 40 radio, except that the demographic that makes up a huge market of baby boomers is ignored by much of the country music establishment, and that's kind of where my music lives. If country music wants to play my album, I'll be very happy. But I'm just as happy to let folks find this music and buy it and listen to it over a beer or a glass of wine. So Light It Up and Burn It Down is a song really about the innocence of newfound love and the heartbreak of betrayal. And sometimes the only way out is to get downright pissed off and to move on. So Light It Up and Burn It Down is really a song about moving on from what doesn't work in your life.
All right, well, we're going to play that for folks, but before we do, let's do this. Let's tell folks where they can find your music. Let's give them out your website, whatever, CD Baby or whatever links you have in Facebook. So let's tell folks that, and then you introduce your song. We'll give it a listen. We'll come back and chat some more. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great, Scott. You can buy my music in CD, and it's a really nicely done CD. It's got a 12-page insert with all of the lyrics to all of the songs. It's got a real nice looking package. It's available on my website at lloydtosoff.com. You can buy it there, or you can contact me directly at lloydtosoff@gmail.com. And also, we've just uploaded it up to TuneCore, along with 3 singles that were previous releases. And so it'll be on iTunes. And so that's where folks can get it right now.
Plus, I have his cell phone number at 778. If y'all want to give him a call, does that work? No.
Well, sure. It is on the website, no.
All right. So, Lloyd, why don't you go ahead and introduce this song for your listeners, and we'll come back and chat some more. Thank you.
This is Lloyd Tosoff from Vancouver, Canada, and you're listening to the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show. And this tune is Light It Up and Burn It Down off my album, Road to Somewhere.
That girl was everything to me, but she played lovers make-believe. I thought she walked on sacred ground, rescued my heart on its way down. Love was sweet like morning dew, and time stood still as we fell through. I did my best to make her see what she wanted me to be. Light it up and burn it down. I packed my bags and I left town. If I stayed, I'd have been hellbound. Light it up and burn it down. The truth fell hard like a stone wall. In loaded silence I recall, there in her eyes as plain as day, love was gone without a trace. She said it all without a word, confirmed the rumors that I heard. What I didn't want to know, I learned hard how to let go. Light it up and burn it down. I packed my bags and I left town. If I stayed, I'd have been hellbound. Light it up and burn it down. Light it up and burn it down. I packed my bags and I left town. If I stayed, I'd have been hellbound. Light it up and burn it down. Light it up and burn it down. I packed my bags and I left town. If I stayed, I'd have been hellbound. Light it up and burn it down.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show. We have Canadian superstar Lloyd Tosoff on the phone with us, and that was his song "Light Up and Burn It Down." And I'm sure a lot of people have done one or the other, and that's a good song, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate it. I am just glad to be on your show.
Well, we appreciate you being here. And like I said, the reason that we're here is because of artists like yourself. You have a huge following, and your fans are coming to us asking us for your music, and they want to hear more from you. So we appreciate you doing that. And I know that unfortunately, the bigger commercial stations, they don't always have time for the independent artists. So that's why we're here.
Speaking of fans, if folks want to sign up for my fan mailing list, so they can keep in touch with me and what's happening with my music, they can also do that on my website. There's a sign up link there, and they can go ahead and become a fan, and I'll give them a free download if they do that.
All right. Well, I'm actually doing that right now. I want to get me some more downloads here. We have a link to all your music, your website, your Facebook, everything on the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show page on our website and our Facebook page. So I guarantee that if folks are interested in finding you, we're going to make it as easy for them as we possibly can, because we want to support you and your music. We're big fans of you.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm really happy to have fans and to have people who believe in this music.
We've been talking about the title the title cut. We're talking about this album, Road to Somewhere. We haven't played that yet. How about we do that?
Sure, that's great. Road to Somewhere, and I'll tell you how that came about. Originally, this project did not have a title, and I really didn't intend on giving it a title. I was just going to call it Lloyd Tosoff and the Redneck All Stars, and just let the album be what it is. Just let the cover do its thing. But my guy that does a lot of my promotion and website work said, "Hey, you need a title for this thing, man." And I said, "Okay, let's call it." Because the picture on the cover, as you know, is a road that disappears into the horizon, into a sunset. And I said, "Okay, let's make it Road to Somewhere." And a couple weeks later, I thought, geez, I think I need to. I really like this title, and I think I need to write this thing. So I sat down and thought, well, what's this? What is this album really about? And really, the solitary life of a songwriter or an artist of any kind, is really a journey of that kind of indefinable craving and restlessness that artists feel, because they never quite feel at home. So, it just feels like, for me personally, it's always just been a road to somewhere, and I don't really know where it's going. So that's really the essence of the song, and that's really the message. And I think once again, it's a story song, and people can listen to it, and they'll get the message in the very last line of the half verse at the end of the song.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is Road to Somewhere, the title cut off of Mr. Lloyd Tosoff's latest album, Road to Somewhere. Give it a listen, and we'll take a road back here right after this.
Wasn't out in California where the sun always shines, or out in West Virginia south of the Mason-Dixon line. You've been searching high and low on this long and winding road, but you haven't found it yet, a place that you can call home. On this road to somewhere, along a broken white line, breath and take a leap of faith, hoping the future might find a little comfort out there. Can melt away your anger and despair with a dream and a prayer. On this road to somewhere, people say you're a dreamer. Well, I guess it must be true. You never know where you're headed, where life might lead you to. There's an aching in your restless soul, a part of you remaining undisclosed. Nobody's ever gonna know you're a rock that was born to roll on this road to somewhere, along a broken white line. You hold your breath and take a leap of faith, hoping the future might find a little comfort out there. Can melt away your anger and despair with a dream and a prayer. On this road to somewhere. That your life has come and gone. You wouldn't have a last regret. You sell your soul for a song. On this road to somewhere, along a broken white line. You hold your breath and take a leap of faith, hoping the future might find a little comfort out there. To melt away your anger and despair with a dream and a prayer. On this road to somewhere. On this road to somewhere.
Wow, man. Hey, Lloyd, I like that song. After hearing the story of how you wrote that, how you had a title for an album, but you didn't have a song, and it's funny. It's not often that an album title inspires a song. Normally, people kind of do. I guess y'all do things backwards up there in Canada, huh?
Yeah, I guess we do. Well, honestly, Scott, I'm really, my primary art form really is just writing. I'm a writer. I've been a writer full-time for the past 7 years, 24 hours, 7 days a week. As I said to somebody last week on another interview, 10,000 hours of writing novels converts pretty well into writing songs. So really, I've got a number of novels out there. I'm just a bear for punishment, and I write every day. Literally, might drive my wife nuts because that's all I do is I write, and I write songs. So songwriting is a way of life. You don't just write a couple of songs. You write songs every day, or you write every day to really further your craft as a writer. So it was an interesting notion to sit down and write a song to a title, but I love the song. It really works really well to tell the message of what this project is, and it's I really like the song, so I hope folks do too.
I like it, and it's funny because you hear people talking, and some people they write, and what they do, their job is to write for something. They'll write for shows and movies and TV, and their job is just basically to go and pen something to go to a certain project. And other writers, they're very spontaneous, and there are some people that are just pretty much tend to be kind of like I guess, schooled writers, where they sit down, they think it out, and it's a full thought process, and they start from start to finish, and they pen it out. It's very unique, the songwriting process. I wish I understood it better, but I like what you do and how you do it.
Well, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to write a song or to do any art form. I really think that good songwriting, good writing period, really starts with an idea, and then out of that idea you kind of muse on it and get some inspiration, and once you have a little bit of an idea and a feeling, because really art is about feeling. Any kind of good art is really meant to make people feel something, because if it doesn't make you feel something, to me it's not really art. So. But then the real hard work part of it is after the inspiration and the muse, then it's really about sitting down and taking your skills and toolbox as a writer and crafting the heck out of the song until there's no throwaway lines. And that's really what I do. I try to write songs that really are, every line counts in the song. And, as one fellow said, and this is a music industry veteran, guy that's got 30 gold records under his belt, he basically describes me saying, this man's artistry doesn't come from the Moon and June songwriting school. He's got thoughtful and intelligent lyrics that capture feelings and conjure up imagery that, makes the listener feel something and gives insight into their own experiences on life's journey. So I think that's really what I hope to do with my songs is make people feel something about their own lives. And I always think to myself, live it, write it, and play it. These are not songs that I conjure up. They're songs about real experiences that I've had that hopefully are universal to a lot of people, like light it up and burn it down.
Well, it's in there. I feel that, and I feel that it's in there. And I think one part of what you were saying in there was that every song, whether it's spontaneous or not, there's a spark that kind of lights that fire. There's something that ignites that thought, that idea, that process. And
that's right.
So, and I like that. I think that's a great analogy. I appreciate you putting that in context for someone like myself who doesn't write songs for a living. I just I live for hearing them. You know what I mean?
Right on.
So
yeah, exactly.
My question for you is this: is that what was the spark? What was the igniter behind A Briefcase and a Gun?
Interesting that you picked that out, because there definitely was a spark. And I'm sure you, living in the New York area, will really appreciate the kind of difficult place that Brooklyn is. And so we're watching TV, watching a crime show, and on the crime show, the guy that was the ghetto guy, he's on the stand, and he's being cross-examined by what I'll call a not so nice lawyer, and the lawyer says the difference between you and I is that you're a criminal and I'm a good citizen, and the guy says, no, the difference between you and I is simply that what you do with a briefcase, I do with a gun. So I thought, wow, that's just a really cool thing. So the next day I sat down and thought, there is a lot of correlation between many people in the business world and a lot of people in the crime world, and I just sat down and made that kind of comparison throughout this song, and I think the song really tells a great story about Jimmy had a briefcase, and Richie had a briefcase, Jimmy had a gun, and they should get together and show them how it's done.
All right. Well, how about you do this? Let's introduce that to folks. We'll give that a play, and we'll come back and we'll finish up. Well, I know you got places to go, but if you don't mind, we'll one more tune.
Oh, that's great. Sure. Well, I'll just put it this way. Many people on Wall Street are more larcenists than their criminal counterparts. This is Lloyd Tosoff from Vancouver, Canada, on the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show, and I'm really glad to announce my song, Briefcase and a Gun, for you all to hear.
Richie was a chip off his daddy's block, a spoiled little so-and-so from noble British stock. Harvard-educated, magna cum laude. Mama's little darling made his rich daddy proud. In an east side ghetto where the crime rates are high, you probably take a bullet by the time you're 25. Jimmy learned a thing or two living on the street, in and out of juvenile with a long rap sheet. Richie's got a briefcase, Jimmy's got a gun, doing business on the fly and making money on the run. It isn't any secret how they got to number one. Richie's got a briefcase, Jimmy's got a gun. Richie made it big on his family name, did a couple murky deals in the mortgage fund game. Had a reputation making dirty money fast, filled his gold-trimmed briefcase with tear-stained cash. Jimmy was the target of the Brooklyn 99, headed up the 18th but never did time. Had a social standing as a dude you should avoid. If you crossed little Jimmy, you'd be null and void. Richie's got a briefcase, Jimmy's got a gun. They should get together and show them how it's done. Wouldn't need a bailout, they'd never have to run. Richie's got a briefcase, Jimmy's got a gun. You could never catch Richie's hand in the till, 'cause Richie was a Mensa with a penchant for the thrill. He could screw you over and you'd never even know it was an empty Ponzi scheme. Richie pilfered all the dough. Concerned about his image and his dark gangster past, Jimmy's days were numbered if he couldn't make it last. He moved his action uptown, Jimmy tempted fate, partnered up with Richie, now they own the fucking state. Richie's got a briefcase, Jimmy's got a gun. They had to get together to show them how it's done. They don't need a bailout, they never have to run. Richie's got a briefcase, Jimmy's got a gun. Richie's got a briefcase, Jimmy's got a gun. You think they do some time for all the damage that they done, but when you got a lawyer who can keep the stories fun, and a banker in Geneva who can launder all the funds, you can give them all the finger while you smile at everyone. Richie's got a briefcase, Richie's got a briefcase, Jimmy's got a gun. Jimmy's got a gun.
Hey, welcome back, y'all. This is the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show, and we have Mr. Lloyd Tosoff on the phone here, and that was his song, Briefcase and a Gun. And Lloyd, you might be my new favorite Canadian, because when you introduced that song before we went into it, you said y'all. So, which is good. We got a few friends up there, Scott McLeod and Rod Black and a few others up there, and I don't reckon either one of them has ever said y'all. So kudos to you.
Well, you know, when you're hanging around people like Gary Gentry, who speaks in a real slow drawl, and he's, you know, I talk to him pretty much every week, it kind of rubs off on you, you know?
Yeah, it's true, man. It's amazing when you're around someone, the influence they can have, just not just musically, because I know Gary Gentry's he's well adversed, well known, and well respected in the business, but you know, just the mannerisms and things like that. And I like the way that you pick that up and you put it into music. It's good stuff. I guarantee.
I love it. I'm so happy to be on your show, and I appreciate the opportunity to let people in on the inside of my album. It's a debut album, by the way. It's not my new album. It's a debut album, my first album.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Lloyd Tosoff. You can find everything you need to know about him at his website, LLOYDTOSSOF, LloydTossoff.com. Get his debut album, Road Somewhere, and let him know that Redneck sent you. Once again, Lloyd, we want to say thank you so much for being a part of the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show. Check in with us anytime, any dates, any shows, anything that you're doing. Let us know. We'll be more than happy to support you and what you do.
That's great, Scott. I really appreciate being on, and all the best to your listeners and to yourself.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, hug your friends, kiss your family, and thank the Lord. Keep on listening to the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show now. You hear?
Hello from Vancouver, Canada. This is Lloyd Tosoff, and you're listening to the Gumbo YaYa Radio Show.
I woke up at 40, looking back down a long and winding road. Squandered half my life and put a few good dreams on hold. I picked up the pieces of a longing that lay scattered all about, searching for an answer that remains beyond the shadow of a doubt. I found a good woman who loved me more than I could love myself. She kept me standing upright through so many times when life had gone to hell. Though I thank my lucky stars that me and that old road are finally straightened out, I keep searching for the light that still remains beyond the shadow of a doubt. I have walked the road between a sinner and a saint, nearly gave up what I am in exchange for what I ain't. I almost lost it all till I drove the devil out and let love lead the way beyond the shadow of a doubt. Now all I know for certain is the road I've traveled on is gonna end, and I pray that I still have the time to do what I can to make amends. Lord, take the buried secrets of my fear and keep my soul safe in your house. And when heaven calls to me, I'll gladly go beyond the shadow of a doubt. Walked the road between a sinner and a saint, nearly gave up what I am in exchange for what I ain't. I almost lost it all till I drove the devil out and let love lead the way beyond the shadow of a doubt. Beyond the shadow of a doubt. Beyond the shadow of a doubt.